Well, hello there, and welcome to the first video for MUSX178 or MUSX178. We're going to start off with this lab to create a template file. So a template is a kind of a blank slate usually of configuration of tracks or plugins or routing or color coding, however you want your Pro Tools session to open up. Is what we're going to make. So I'm going to make this one for film sounds. And so I'm going to call it audio post template. And I'm going to call that maybe my last name. You call it your last name audio post template. And you want to make it a local storage session. We don't want to create from template. We're going to make a template here. All right, so there is the name of this. And I'm going to go down here. You want WAV files usually. You can also have AAFs, but WAV is more universal. Sample rate, 48K. Let's zoom in here a little bit here. There we go. Sample rate is going to be 48K, and the bit depth is going to be 24-bit. I actually like this is actually good. Let's do some interleaved. That means that we're not going to split mono files as well. So I should back up here and just tell you this is the dashboard. So when we go to we launched Pro Tools, and we go to File, New, Create New, and this dashboard comes up. That's where all these settings come from. I should have mentioned that. So now I'm ready to create this session here for audio post mixing that you can use for all of your assignments in the class. So let's go ahead and create that. And it comes up. My windows are all over the place here. Here we go. So now it's a blank session here. There's really not much going on. And I'm going to follow through. So we already made the session. It's 24-bit, 48K WAV files, and we want it to be interleaved. That's actually really good to make it interleaved so it doesn't split stereo tracks into left and right in your audio files folder. So now we are going to make some new tracks here. I think I'm just going to start out with, I'm going to do Command-Shift-N, file, or sorry, track, new track, or Command-Shift-N is the key command, or Control-Shift-N. Let's close up this. Actually, I can't because this dialog is open here. Go away. Go away. Okay. So now I'm going to go track new or Command-Shift-N. And I'm going to do 2 new mono tracks here. And if I think it's Command-Shift down arrow, I'm going to do, let's say, 10 stereo audio tracks in samples. Go ahead and create that. And I'm just going to create all these tracks here so you can see that these two are mono because they have one channel. These are going to be stereo. And I'm just going to start off my template this way. So if you've been reading the notes, we're going to label all of our tracks with little prefixes. So DX for dialogue. So these are going to be dialogue tracks. Dialogue's usually mono, right? So, and then I'm going to move on to FX01. I'm going to show you a little hack here I like to do. I just copy these, and then I do Command right arrow. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So this is new track dialog, and if I just do Command or Control left or right arrow, it scrolls through the track name. So I copied this one, Command C, in the buffer, go to the next track, Command V, and just backspace, paste it in there. And I need unique names here. So what am I on? 4? I'm getting distracted here. Let's go. 5. And that's good right there. Then I'm going to make some music tracks. MX01. I'm going to copy that in the buffer. Command C. 2. Maybe 3. And then I'm going to go and make some background tracks. BG01. Command A, Command C, and go to the next one, 02, and then I start over. So I have all my tracks created now. I've labeled all my tracks, and I got my dialogue tracks here. Oops, I'm going to color code these. Shift select, click on the little color bar, zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to make them red. You can make them whatever color you want. I'm going to select the first sound effects track, select the last one, so I select the whole range of sound effects. Let's make these orange. And then I'm going to go to my music. Music, of course, as you guys guessed, yep, it's green. No, you can make it whatever color you want. And my backgrounds, let's make these yellow. So this is a great starting point for labeling all the tracks and color coding them. I just was bringing up that color bar by double clicking on this little color bar there, selecting the tracks and choosing the color coding. And then you can saturate this as you need to. Whoops, like that. You can turn it on like that. And as you can see, it makes the mix window look all nice. That's Command equal for the mix window. All right, so now I've made my tracks here. And I'm going to put a little, like an insert here. Multi-channel other, and let's see if I have the signal generator here. Where would that be? I believe it might be only mono. Plugin, other. There it is. And I should hear a little beeping sound there. It's kind of annoying. And I can just drag it to whatever track to put some audio signal through just to test things out. So I can bypass that. Let's just leave it at 1K. So we can just use that as a signal routing tool. Okay. We also want as you guys may know, a stereo master fader as part of the session. I might keep this at the top here. And we're making our mix template here. Another thing we can do is do what's called submixing. There's a couple ways to do this. Submixing will take the audio signal here if it's a dialogue track or if it's a sound effect track or with the music track, and it'll route it through an aux input track. So I'm going to do this in two ways, and this is great to just review how to do this. Oh, what's strange here, I don't see my I.O. here. This is actually good. So I'm going to go to View, Mix Window Views, and I want to see my I.O. I don't know why that was hidden, because I was probably doing something weird here, mixing something, opening up weird sessions, and sometimes those features are carried over. But our template is going to be nice. It's going to have inserts, sends, I.O. that's input, and if you hold it there for long enough, it'll tell you what it is. Output, faders. All right, great. If you've been in my previous classes, you know that what a submix is. So a submix will take all of the dialogue tracks here and route them through an aux input. I'm going to go the long way here. Command-Shift-N. I'm going to make a stereo aux input track. There we go. Stereo aux input. And I'm going to call this DX. You could call it mix or bus is fine. DX bus. There we go. And so I'm going to route these two tracks here into that track. Okay? Before I knew this key command, I would do it the long way. I would select the output here. I would go to a bus path. I'd choose bus 1 and be like, okay. Then I go to bus path and I go bus 1, 2, okay. And then I'd select the input here, bus 1, 2. That's one way to do it. And then I can put my signal generator here and just show you. Oops, looks like that transformed to stereo. So let's put another one in here. Plug in other signal generator. So I'm just building the template here that'll pass through. So see how that solos, it cuts it off? I've got a solo safe that I got a command click, boink, on that. So when I solo this, it passes through. See how that grayed out? If I don't solo safe this or command or control click if you're on a PC, it won't pass through there. So we can see the signal routing out bus 1, 2, in bus 1, 2, out through this to my master fader. So that's the long way to set this up. Let's set this up again doing another way. I'm going to change all these selected track outputs at once. Let's do this another way. So I'm going to make another submix, Command-Shift-N. I'm going to show you variations on how to do this. Stereo aux input, and I'm going to give it a name here. It's going to be called FX. Bus or submix, whatever you want to call it is fine. And then I'm going to route these tracks. Let's do a little bit faster now. So I'm going to go on to the next bus. So Option does every track, right? Option Shift does just the selected tracks, right? Option does every track. I can solo, for example, or I can hold on the Option modifier, then it will just do the selected tracks. So I'm going to do Option Shift or Alt Shift if you're on a PC, and I'm going to change the output here to bus 3, 4. Boom. See all these, just these change because I'm holding on Option Shift. then I patched it in here. So we went the brute force manual way, then we went a little bit faster. Now I'm going to show you an even faster way to do it with these music tracks here. Check this out. So let's do something a little bit faster now. I'm going to route all of these tracks here. Let's try that one more time. Option Shift to a new track. I'm going to call this MX Bus. And there we go. That time worked. I don't know why it didn't work before, but we got it working now. And of course, I'm going to solo save this, which means command click, which means if I solo this track, it'll pass through there. Right? Cool. I'm just testing the signal routing. And then we've got one last one. Let's do the exact same thing here. I'm going to hold down Option Shift on both these background tracks. Option Shift. Output is going to be bus. New track. New track. There we go. I'm going to call this BG bus. There we go. And it kind of puts it in the middle. That's sort of annoying. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to test that. Option drag this over there. And we can see that that time it worked great. Solo safe that. So that's a good starting point. A few other things I like to do just for work in terms of workflow. I might like to color code the bus mix. I like to mix with my submixes right next to the tracks, so I can kind of make this a little bit darker red. This one might be a little bit darker orange. There we go. Just so I can differentiate that's a submix. You can see it's an aux track by the color coding there. Green is good there. Let's go to a little bit darker yellow here. There we go. And let's saturate that to the max. And so we just kind of see that these music tracks are feeding into the MX bus into here. And another thing we could do, Control 2, we could set the sample rate here, timecode rate. I might just go to 29.97. That's probably the most standard digital video. I might save that up, save this. So this is a bona fide Pro Tools session now. There's no content in here other than my little signal generators just to test the signal flow, right? I'm just bypassing them. But you could set this up however you wanted to in terms of your views. Let's say I don't want to see the tracks there. Let's say I want to make this clip list a little bit further like that. Let's say here's another great thing, time code. So I drop down this pop-up menu. Let's say I want to see time code, which is a good thing to have it in time code. Let's say, what else would I want here? You could basically set any type of preference here. I have the universe window here. I usually don't use it much, so I'm going to remove that. So I think it's view, other views. Where is this? Other displays. Get rid of the universe. It just takes up a lot of space. I like this here. I also like to show the meter at times. That would be good. So we got time code, bars, and beats. Maybe let's get rid of the meter because we're not using any stuff there. So minutes, seconds, this is great. So time code's my default value. I set my frame rate. However you're going to set it up. And then just another thing here, you guys could, let's say you're not even working on any dialogue on this first assignment. You could just get rid of all the dialogue stuff. Just hide it. Hide show tracks there. But I'm just going to show everything as a starting point. So my template is done. I'm just going to double check all my signal flow here by unmuting. Yep, my outbus 1, 2, that was a long way. Outbus 3, 4 here. Into bus 3, 4. Yep, that's working great. It's passing the submix to the master fader. Got a signal generator here. That looks good. By the way, I set that one up a little bit differently, right? I did the option shift and went to a new track with those selected, and I named a custom bus called MX bus. And then I did the same thing over here. So that's probably the fastest way. So you can slow down the video and see how I did that. I'm gonna mute this. And I was just kind of testing these out. I wouldn't keep them in the template, but you could do that. So this is a great starting point because it's all color coded. Everything's set up really nicely. So templates are great, not only for post, but also for music mixing. Let's say I was gonna record a rock band, for example. I could have my kick, my snare, my hi-hat, all my aux set up, all of my plugins. Let's say, speaking of plugins, you could have plugins set up here. So I'm going to throw on, you guys may not have this plugin, but there is a plugin here called waves WLM plus, which is like a loudness meter. So maybe I put that. Maybe I would put some type of limiter, so on and so forth. Anything you can imagine. EQing. Oftentimes you high pass the dialogue is a good thing to do. Get rid of rumble and stuff like that. So I'm gonna just slap an EQ on here and do a high pass. Whatever you can imagine, you could put on this template. I don't have any audio tracks in here, but let's say you did a crazy mix session. You had it set up just nice, and all the levels were really good, and all the plugins were set, and you use these plugins repeatedly. You could save a template from anything and just choose not to include the audio files, right? Let's do that now. So I'm pretty much ready to save this, and I color-coded everything. I put some plugins on there. Whatever you want to set it up, however you're comfortable with whatever colors you want to use. But we want to name all these tracks so that I can just start pulling in sound effects and manipulating them, and that would be great. But let's go ahead and save the template. File, save as template, and you could put it on the system. That just means it's going to put it in a designated default location on the hard drive. I'm just going to select the location of the template, and I'm just going to have a file name there, and I'm going to give it a name after. Looks like after I go to the next dialogue. I don't have any media, but if I did have a few tracks I'm using, like beeps or count-ins, as we get to ADR, we'll use some of that stuff, but I don't have any media right now. Or if you had a session with a lot of stuff and you just wanted to extract all the track names, you would just uncheck this, but I'm going to uncheck it now, and I'm going to give it a name in the next dialogue. So I'm going to go, let's put it on the desktop here. You could put it whatever you wanted on your hard drive that you use. I'm going to call it Walter Audio Post Template and save that, right? So this is also a Pro Tools session, and I just extracted a template, right? And so now I'm just going to close this, Command-Shift-W. Here's my template. Look it has a ptxt file. It's a different type of Pro Tools file, and that's what I want you guys to hand in to me to the Dropbox. Just give me that, and we can open it up and discuss that. I'm going to go ahead and just double-click on the template, and it's going to bring up this dialog. That's a little bit smoother. If I saved it in that pre-location, that designated location, then it would appear there, like it would be on your computer. But I just saved this particular file, standalone file, and so now I'm just going to call this my last name _AS1, and I can choose these settings. Look great because they were on my template. So we had again, just to review, 48K, 24-bit, interleaved, and I'm just going to save it here, Walter AS1. So you guys would put your last name AS1. I'm going to create that, and boom, it's going to look exactly like everything I always set it up before. So now I can start to import my video file and start to do my sound design. So that's a template, and you should have fun with it. And one last little bit of a review here for you guys. Here's my documents folder. And I just made this Walter AS1 folder, and it made a whole new Pro Tools folder for me. Just to review, it makes a folder, and it puts all the stuff inside there. So once you get to import the video file, you're going to copy the video file directly over here to this session folder that was created and import from there. So that's just a one last tip there. All right. So hopefully that's how you make a template for post-production, and that was kind of a walkthrough of the lab. Hopefully that helps.